Seoul, South Korea. A wave of shock, excitement, and curiosity swept through the entertainment industry this week when BTS's youngest member, Jungkook, did something so unexpected inside HYBE headquarters that every staff member, executive, and even fellow artists were left speechless. What began as a normal morning at the company's sleek glass building in Yongsan quickly turned into one of the most talked about moments in K-pop history. The scene was calm at first. Employees entering the building with their usual routines, sound engineers preparing for recording sessions, stylists rushing between floors, and producers buried in meetings. Then, without warning, Jungkook arrived earlier than usual, dressed simply in a black hoodie, jeans, and a cap pulled low over his eyes. No entourage, no bodyguards, no management staff. It was strange enough to catch everyone's attention. People inside HYBE are used to seeing idols come and go surrounded by staff, but Jungkook's solitary entrance was already unusual. Whispers followed him as he walked through the lobby. Security guards nodded in respect but noticed something different. Jungkook's expression carried a quiet determination, the kind of focus that signaled something important was about to happen. He went straight to the top floor, where HYBE's executive conference room is located. Normally, that area is off-limits to artists unless there's a scheduled meeting. Within minutes, word spread across the building. Jungkook's upstairs, alone. Inside the room, several high-ranking executives, including music directors, creative producers, and even the CEO, were discussing upcoming projects. The door opened silently and Jungkook stepped in. Everyone turned. Silence filled the room. "Jungkook," one of the directors said, confused. "Do you have an appointment?" Jungkook bowed politely, his tone calm but firm. "No, but I need to say something important." No one expected what came next. He placed his phone on the table, pressed play, and a brand new song filled the room. A raw, haunting track that no one had heard before. It wasn't officially produced, but it was powerful, emotional, and clearly self-made. The song, written and recorded entirely by Jungkook in his home studio, carried lyrics that spoke of freedom, identity, and breaking boundaries within the industry. As the last note faded, he looked around and said, "I want to release this, my way." The executives exchanged looks. The silence was thick, heavy with surprise. Jungkook, known for his professionalism and humility, had never before confronted management so directly. But this time it wasn't rebellion. It was clarity. He wanted to take creative control of his next solo project, from concept to production. One HYBE staff member, who later spoke to media, anonymously described the moment as unforgettable. He wasn't angry or demanding, the insider said. He was calm, collected, but you could feel his conviction. For years, Jungkook has been celebrated for his perfectionism, the golden maknae who sings, dances, writes, and performs at a world-class level. His solo tracks like Still With You and Seven showcased his range and emotion, but those songs, while personal, were still under label direction. What he played that day was different, raw, unfiltered, and deeply personal. After listening, the room remained silent for several seconds. Then, one senior producer finally said, "It's beautiful." Another executive added, "But Jungkook, we have schedules, contracts, strategies." He interrupted softly. "I understand, but I've thought about this for a long time. This is who I am right now. I want to share it with ARMY and the world, as me." The CEO leaned forward, studying him. "Do you realize how much pressure this decision will create?" "Yes," Jungkook replied, steady. "But I also know how much honesty matters. Music isn't just numbers and trends. It's connection." Those words lingered in the air. It was a defining moment, an artist, reminding his company of what truly drives creativity. Within hours, whispers spread throughout HYBE. Staff in the hallways were texting each other. "Did you hear what Jungkook just did? He showed the board a new song, unapproved." Everyone was stunned. Even other artists in the building, including members of 17 and TXT, heard about it. One trainee reportedly said, "I wish I had the courage to do what Jungkook did today." By afternoon, the news had reached social media. Jungkook at HYBE and the HYBE Speechless began trending on X, formerly Twitter. Fans speculated wildly. Had Jungkook decided to go independent? Was he planning an unexpected release? Some even wondered if this was part of a larger BTS reunion strategy. But what few people outside HYBE knew was that Jungkook's decision came from months of quiet self-reflection. Sources close to him said he had been writing and composing late into the night after his solo. Promotions wrapped up, experimenting with sounds beyond pop, mixing rock, lo-fi R&B, and orchestral elements. "He's been evolving," said a longtime collaborator. "He's not chasing perfection anymore. He's chasing truth." Later that evening, HYBE's internal team held an emergency discussion. They analyzed the track Jungkook played, its potential, its risks, and its message. The song was unconventional, 6 minutes long, with no traditional chorus, featuring only Jungkook's vocals layered over a minimal piano. Line and background harmonies, recorded in one take. But the more they listened, the more they realized it wasn't just a song. It was a statement. The next morning, Jungkook returned to the building, this time with his manager, Mr. Lee, by his side. Cameras caught him entering the lobby, and photos quickly circulated online. Despite the chaos, Jungkook looked peaceful, even smiling faintly at staff who greeted him nervously. International media outlets picked up the story. Billboard described it as a rare display of artistic courage within the structured world of K-pop. Rolling Stone, Asia called Jungkook a symbol of the modern artist, unafraid to take risks even at the peak of fame. But Jungkook himself stayed silent on social media. No statement, no explanation, just quiet focus. Insiders said he spent the next few days working non-stop in the studio, refining the track, recording background vocals, and designing the visual concept himself. The HYBE staff who witnessed those sessions described them as electric. "He didn't need anyone to tell him what to do," one producer said. He had a clear vision. Every beat, every word had purpose. Weeks later, when the project was finally ready, HYBE announced an upcoming mystery drop, a digital event teased only with the words, "From Jungkook to the world." No further details were provided. On release day, fans around the globe waited at midnight KST. When the song went live, it broke streaming records within hours. The title track, simply called Echo, wasn't just music. It was emotion crystallized into sound. The lyrics spoke of silence, pressure, and finally liberation. Many listeners cried while hearing it. Critics praised it as the most honest work of Jungkook's career. Others said it redefined what a K-pop solo could be. But inside HYBE, the most powerful reaction wasn't from fans or critics. It was from the staff who had seen the entire journey. They remembered that morning, when Jungkook walked in alone and played his song for the first time. The same silence that had once filled. The room now meant something different, not confusion, but awe. Everyone was speechless that day, one staff member reflected. But now we understand why. He wasn't breaking rules, he was breaking limits. As weeks passed, Jungkook's project topped global charts, but he refused to treat it as a victory. In a rare interview with the Korea Herald, he simply said, "I didn't want to surprise people. I just wanted to be real." He also shared a message for fans. "Army always gives me strength. This music is my way of saying thank you, without filters, without fear." And perhaps that's why the story of that day at HYBE became legendary. Not because of controversy or drama, but because of courage. Jungkook didn't raise his voice, didn't rebel, didn't walk away. He simply created something pure, something that made even the most powerful executives stop talking and start listening. In a world where every move by an idol is carefully managed, Jungkook reminded everyone that authenticity still has power, and silence sometimes can say everything.